You ever had the feeling your whole life's just some kind of punchline to a joke you never asked to hear? Because that's what it felt like the fifth time I found my mailbox flattened, splinters everywhere, tire tracks still fresh in the dirt, like somebody was running a private demolition derby, and my property was the finish line. And every time I rebuilt, they just came back with a bigger truck, laughing their heads off like it was all part of the game. You know what I mean? Let me tell you, the fines were stacking up like poker chips at a table I wasn't even playing, and the harassment, well, that was just getting started. That's when I decided if they wanted a war, they'd get one. The last mailbox I built would be the last one anyone ever smashed. Now, my name's Bruce Hayes, and before all this mess, life was about as simple as you could want. I had a little ranch outside Austin, nothing fancy, some chickens, a dog named Jasper, vegetables in the dirt, and the kind of peace you can only find when your closest neighbor is a mile away. I sold fresh eggs and tomatoes at the Saturday market, waved at folks, kept my head down. Never made much, but it was honest living. But you want to know when everything started going sideways? The night I found the first mailbox splintered at the end of my drive. I figured it was just bored kids. Come on, who hasn't heard of teenagers with baseball bats and nothing better to do? That one cost me $150 and a week's worth of lost business because customers stopped getting their delivery confirmations. I reported it to the sheriff, but you know how it goes. We'll file a report, Mr. Hayes, but unless you've got witnesses, don't hold your breath. Second time around, 3 weeks later, it wasn't even worth a phone call. I tried insurance, but they basically laughed me off the phone, said I should build it somewhere safer or try putting a camera out. Like I was supposed to build Fort Knox for a mailbox. By the time the third one got wrecked, I was losing sleep. Not just over the money, but the feeling that somebody was watching, picking their moment, and enjoying every second. That's when I met Madison Cross. She pulled up in a spotless white SUV. HOA president painted on every inch of her smile and said all the right things about community and safety, how this kind of vandalism was a threat to everyone, not just me. I'll admit, for a minute, I was relieved someone gave a damn. Madison asked about my routines, what days I got deliveries, if I'd noticed anyone strange. I told her everything, thinking maybe, finally, the grown-ups were taking over. Looking back, I want to slap myself. She brought in a security contractor, Victor Hale, big guy, beard, mirrored sunglasses, and a badge that only meant something if you squinted. Victor drove laps around my property, asked the same questions as Madison, and promised to find whoever was behind the mailbox situation. But then things got weird. Victor started mentioning stuff nobody should know, like how the support posts had been targeted, not just the box. The timing of the attacks, always right before an important delivery. It was too perfect. I'd been in the Army, EOD specialist, 3 tours, defused more bombs than I care to remember. And if there's one thing you learn, it's to trust your gut when something doesn't line up. But instead of trusting myself, I let Madison's concern and Victor's patrols talk me down. I started getting jumpy. Every truck that backfired had me ducking behind the porch. PTSD, sure, but this was different. Then one night, after telling Madison I had a big seed shipment coming Tuesday, just to see what happened, I woke up Monday to mailbox number 4 blown to pieces. The timing was too exact. So I ran a second test, told Madison about an imaginary Saturday morning delivery of expensive chicken feet. That Friday night, I turned off all the lights, sat at the window, and watched Victor's truck creep down the drive with its lights off. He got out, crowbar in hand, and smashed the box like he was punching a time card. That's when it hit me. This wasn't random. This was orchestrated. And here's where the real twist walks in. I met Sam Morgan, retired county assessor, old-timer who'd seen it all. Over black coffee in his kitchen, Sam pulled out a folder of HOA payment records. Son, what you're describing is a squeeze play. They want your land, and they're making you miserable until you sell for pennies. Sure enough, Victor was getting $800 a month for security, most of it funneled through Madison's backroom authorizations. Way over budget, no board approval. HOA was basically paying for harassment. Meanwhile, Madison was hinting I should sell out. Go somewhere peaceful, start fresh. The fine stacked up, $750 for non-compliant mailbox architecture, $500 for safety hazards, all targeting me. I started documenting everything. Photos, times, phone calls, every new violation. And the more I watched, the more obvious it got. Madison was running a playbook straight out of a mafia movie, only with clipboards and legal pads instead of crowbars. Sam showed me how she'd been pushing through payments, cooking the books, and I realized this wasn't just about me. This was a land grab. That's when the soldier in me woke up. I quit playing defense. Instead of hoping for help, I decided to fight on my terms. I spent weeks building a new mailbox, but this one was different. Steel posts, concrete foundation, hidden inside, a miniature fortress of military-grade electronics. Cameras, mics, motion sensors, solar power, the works. I called it the evidence cascade. If they hit it, sensors would trigger, scattering documents all over the yard, each one a piece of the puzzle. Payment records, emails, HOA violations, all copied and uploaded off-site. And that's not even the best part. Embedded GPS trackers, so if Victor came with his truck, I'd know everywhere he went for the next 6 months. Sunday night, I baited the trap. Told Madison I had a shipment of rare chickens coming Monday morning and settled in with my night vision. Right on cue, just after midnight, Victor's truck appeared. Madison's SUV was behind him, and a third car I didn't recognize. They parked up, had a little conference. Victor grabbed a sledgehammer and walked down to my new mailbox. He swung, and the hammer bounced off so hard he nearly dropped it. The lights came on, blinding, military style. Victor stumbling like a drunk, Madison yelling into her phone. In the chaos, the evidence cascade went off. Documents everywhere, payment stubs, sign violations, all of it scattered across the driveway. That's when Sam arrived, just like we'd planned, phone ready, snapping pictures of everything. Victor with a sledgehammer, Madison surrounded by paper, my mailbox sitting there, not even scratched. I played the bewildered homeowner, bathrobe, boots, flashlight, while Madison spun some wild story about someone planting false evidence. Sam just kept picking up documents, reading off expense reports. Victor Hale, $800 a month. Emergency upgrades, $1,500. Non-compliant mailbox, signed by Madison Cross. You could see Victor's face go from red to white as he realized the game was up. That's when the county deputy rolled in, called by Sam about suspicious activity. And now it was Madison and Victor getting separated, evidence bagged, sledgehammer tagged, and me watching as the perfect trap closed. But here's the next twist. This went deeper than just mailbox smashing. With Sam's help, I traced the money. Madison wasn't just HOA president. She was a real estate agent, getting deposits from a shell company called Lanier Development right after she paid Victor. It was a laundering operation. Lanier paid Madison, Madison paid Victor, Victor harassed owners. Owners sold cheap. Lanier got the land. I found maps, plans for a big housing project. My ranch was the only way they could get road access. Without it, their whole development was landlocked and worthless. Madison tried one last play, came to apologize with a bottle of wine. She suggested I sell, take my veterans' benefits, move on, said it was for my mental health. But she let slip details she never should have known. My military record, my grandfather's will, even my girlfriend's work schedule. Turns out, Madison had gotten herself special courthouse access, tweaking property records, trying to create legal loopholes to force me out. Federal crime, by the way. So I played along, asked Madison to help sell my ranch, watched her lay out paperwork, all recorded by my hidden mics. She wanted power of attorney, one signature away from stealing my legacy. I stalled, said I wanted to meet the buyers. She refused, hid behind my PTSD, claimed it was better if I let her handle things. That's when I knew she was scared. The real buyers weren't investors, they were shadows, and she couldn't risk me seeing their faces. Final act, time to drop the curtain. I sat Madison down at my kitchen table, pulled out my laptop, and played the audio from her private conversation with Victor. You should have seen her face. Shock, then realization, then cold, hard fear. I showed her the money trail. Lanier to Madison, Madison to Victor, Victor to harassment, all laid out with bank records and receipts. 8 months of evidence. Every conversation, every document, every thread, all going straight to federal investigators. As Madison's phone started buzzing, no doubt her developer friends getting visits from the FBI, Sam and I watched law enforcement roll up at Victor's house, at Lanier's office, at the county courthouse. Arrests, indictments, the whole circus. In the end, Madison got federal time for conspiracy and fraud, Victor for harassment, Lonier's leadership for organized crime. My HOA got dissolved, a new board elected, actual community improvement started for the first time in years. You know what the best part is? My ranch is quiet now. Jasper still chases squirrels, the chickens still lay, and that special mailbox, still standing, still recording. Because you never know when the next bunch of crooks will think a veteran is an easy mark. They never saw the real trap coming. They built it themselves and walked right in. So what do you think, folks? Who's right in a fight like this? Is it ever justified to outsmart your neighbors when the system fails you? Or does fighting back make you just as bad as them? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk justice. Let's talk community. Let's talk about where the line is when the people meant to protect you are the ones coming for everything you've built.